Hello, this is Chris of Magoosh, and today I have verbal traps in the text completion. Specifically, how are these traps created? What are the test writers thinking? And how can we be on guard against these verbal traps? So let's dive in here with the question. There are few blank thrills to be gleaned from Kafka's writing, for his characters, which typically embody ideas, are not fleshed out enough for the reader to become fully immersed in their plights. Okay, so what kind of thrills are we looking for? Now this is going to be a little bit hard, but instead what I want us to do is come up with our own word, or kind of what we think what this word must be. Now if we read the question, we're looking for a clue in the sentence itself. And so it says here, characters are not fleshed out enough for the reader to become fully immersed in their plights. The characters are kind of two-dimensional, so you can't get many, what kind of thrills? I don't know, kind of thrills you get from following the character. So that's okay, we didn't come up with an exact word, but we get a sense of what the answer choice should look like. Now that we've done that, let's come back here and let's actually look at these answer choices and see which one of these makes sense based on what we're going for here. So A, we have novel. So novel thrills, would those work? Well, you might know that Kafka's a writer and he's written some novels, so that kind of sounds good. And you can't really get too many novel thrills from two-dimensional characters, maybe, but we want something stronger. We want something that really captures the essence of that clue. So notice that this trap is one where there is an association with the topic itself. It's talking about novels, and so maybe novel and innovative. But again, that is a trap that we want to avoid, and that is one that I am going to cross out here. Whoop. The next word is one I assume you don't necessarily know, and that's okay, because we want to figure out what the traps are, what doesn't work, and then see if we can eliminate all but one, and maybe vicarious will be that one. Let's see, but let's skip it for now. Next, tangential. Does tangential mean relating to characters and characters' plights, and these two-dimensional characters? Well, maybe, kind of-ish. As soon as you start to see yourself make connections with words, saying, well, you know, characters who aren't that common or two-dimensional, maybe they're tangential. Once you start doing that weird logic, pull yourself out of there. That's not testing, or that's not what the GRE tests. They want you to figure out exactly what that word is based on the specific clue in the sentence. So tangential is gone. Next is precarious. Precarious means dangerous. Dangerous thrills. That doesn't really match up with anything, and that's fine. You can just, sometimes they will put words here that don't really relate to the clue. Maybe you don't know the word and you end up choosing it. That could be the trap. But it's not like novel where there's actually a tie-in. But what about answer choice E, substantive? Well, if I plug that in, there are a few substantive thrills. There's not enough meaty thrills with a lot of substance in there because his characters aren't that fleshed out. Hey, that makes sense. And substantive is a common enough word, or at least one where you don't have to know the exact definition, but you get it. It means having substance. And you choose it and you get the question wrong. And you're like, what? How did that happen? It works, right? So that's how these traps are designed. In isolation, if you just read, there were a few blank thrills, and you're like, substantive thrills, that makes sense, then that's fine. But it's all about that clue, and we kind of forgot the clue when we started thinking about a word like substantive. And the test knows that you'll do that. And so we want to step back again and say, wait a second. Does this mean relating to a character? Relating to characters, the character's plight, substantive. You might say, well, maybe, but just because characters aren't really drawn out doesn't mean that you can't get substantive thrills from them. Maybe there are a lot of substantive thrills, even though they're kind of boring characters. Or maybe their substantive thrills can be gathered from elsewhere. Maybe not the characters, but the focus really seems to be on the characters, not the substance, and therefore you can get rid of E. But it's a subtle one, and the test has specifically chosen that because they know that you're going to plug it in the blank, read it, it sounds kind of right, but you're going to forget that clue. And that brings us back to the word vicarious. It's a harder word. The test knows this. It didn't just choose a bunch of hard words. It chose this one specific hard word. And this word specifically means able to be experienced secondhand. So a character, a friend, whoever it might be, you read about what they're going through, and it's like you're living in their skin. That's what vicarious means. And you can see that, oh, well, yeah, that's perfect. That's like a perfect word. And that is exactly what the test is going for. That perfect word that fits the clue in there. Not one where it kind of does, or it makes sense if you just put it in isolation, but one that of course matches up very literally with what is written there. And of course, also watch out for those traps where it's kind of associated with the context, because you'll often get those as well. And now that we know what to look for in terms of verbal traps, you will be on guard when you take the practice test. Cool, I really hope you enjoyed that video learning about the verbal traps and of course picking up on some vocab in the process. Speaking of which, learning vocab is not easy, and that's why we put vocabulary memorization tricks in the description below. Simply just click on the link to access those. Of course, if you want to watch more videos like this one, then check out the ones on your left.